Alright, let's talk about it as I am ready to piss some people off today. Hey, I'm ready! Let's go. When I started watching episode 3 of Boonboomger with Marcos all those months back, yes, I started writing this video back then, I made a realization. Have you ever noticed this is a thing? Skirts here, shorts there, almost every female Sentai outfit is not practical. So let's set this straight. Let's talk about how stupid this actually is starting from the very beginning. First of all though, I'm not saying women can't wear skirts. I'm not saying women can't wear shorts. Wear what you want. But at this point, what this video is about is not the skirts. It's about why they wear skirts. Keep that in mind. Also, I know that the teams change outfits for some episodes, but I will be talking about what they are normally seen in overall across the show and what they are known for. I am also going to mention jobs or past jobs as I find it really important to know their lifestyle and training before and during the show. And finally, please wait till after the video before you write your opinions in the comments below. Hear me out before you start arguing. This isn't coming from me just being a feminist, it's coming from me being a woman who doesn't want to get hurt, doesn't want to get sexualized 24/7, and doesn't understand the crazy nature of what I've discovered from this video. Let's get into it. Starting all the way back in 1975, first off is Peggy, Momo Ranger of the Go Rangers, a chemical analyst and special weapons engineer specializing in explosives. She also had some equestrian training. Though her legs are covered in her suited form, in her civilian outfit, on the other hand, she is described as fashionable, often wearing go-go boots and short, hip-hugging hot pants. But then, why would a chemical analyst be wearing shorts? And even if it was for horse riding, you wouldn't wear shorts on a horse anyway because of the rubbing and chafing on your thighs and calves. And maybe this is just her casual outfit, you may add. But let me get another example. Next is Karen, Heart Queen of Jaku. She is a former policewoman assigned to investigate illegal drug trafficking routes into Japan, and during a fatal car accident, lost her arm and is now seeking revenge after undergoing bionic procedures. She is a skilled martial artist, but having a flair for fashion also, wears tight red leather hot pants and red long boots. But why would a former policewoman who is fighting villains every day be in hot pants? I have been told that a uniform for them wasn't really expected due to the fact that they are able to instantly transform, and if that's true, then fair enough. Moving on, we have Diane, Miss America 1 of Battle Fever J, who was a FBI agent who joined the team to avenge her father Bosna, a woman on a revenge plot. Great. And also is the first female so far to be wearing trousers! Yes! Finally, a woman with effective gear. Mostly. But is replaced when wounded in action by Maria, Miss American 2, who is wearing shorts. And Diane decides to return to the States. Oh, never mind. Maria is a trained FBI agent trained by her father, replacing someone who finally was wearing trousers. This feels personal, I think. Or maybe even profitable. You know what I mean, Toei? Anyway, as we enter the 1980s, next we have Akira, Denzi Pink of the Denzi Man, an ambitious tennis player, swimming coach, and piano player. Finally, we have a character that I agree that her wearing shorts actually makes sense, as tennis players are always seen in shorts or skirts. Still, there is the fact that she would be still rolling in rocks and dirt, getting exploded and hurt. Doesn't help with the fact that she's still wearing a skirt. But this time, I won't fight too much, even though I still think it's ridiculous. In 1981, oh, there's no women in the main team for Sun Vulcan. Except Misa, White Rose Fencer, who is the secretary, again in shorts, who transforms once or twice. Says a lot. Moving on. Nikki, Goggle Pink of the Goggle 5, a 16-year-old gymnast. Let me repeat that again. A 16-year-old, and she's in shorts? Some people, man. You already know my thoughts, that this is actually borderline creepy. You can argue that she is a gymnast and all gymnasts wear leotards, but that's on the mat or in training. She is now fighting crime. Moving on. Ray, Dynapink of the Dynaman, is an 18-year-old animal scientist and a competent fencer who, again, is in shorts. As an animal scientist and a fencer, like horse riding, you wouldn't want any skin to be showing in those professions. One, a scientist, and germs can cause issues in tests as well as in fencing. The blades hitting your skin will scar and not be pleasant. Do I need to say any more? One last thing, actually. She apparently has a frequent rival, Princess Chimera. And I know this video isn't even about the villains, but the female villains, that's a whole new level of insanity. But before we move on, of course there's always the argument of it being the character's choice. What if they want to wear skirts and shorts? If the character would genuinely wear skirts, then fine. Or wants to wear shorts on a warm summer's day, fine. But this goes deeper than just desire. I'm more complaining on how women have to wear skirts and shorts. I bet most of the female actors in Sentai don't get to choose their outfits when given their characters. It's like going to be a part of a play and being given a specific costume and not being able to change. On a cold day when recording, they are still in shorts. When out in the rubble or around fire, they are still in skirts. Especially for a company like Toei, they choose. The actors don't. So specifically against the argument that the characters just want to wear skirts in universe, I say, no they don't. Characters don't choose anything, the actors don't either. The writers and producers and directors do. They fully dictate whether a character is even interested in the clothes that they choose to wear, and they make the same choice every time. That's what's tiring. The characters wear skimpy clothes because the creators demand it, and no amount of personality really justifies that. I wonder if there's any more examples to be found. Oh boy, you have no idea. Mika Yellowfall of the Biomen team is a photographer and is one of the trouser gang. Yes, finally another practical civilian outfit. But guess what? Again, the trouser-wearing Sentai member is replaced, this time by Jun, when she saves her teammate and dies from the blast. I've seen the clip of her death, and with the rumors and conflicting stories of why her actress Yuki Ojima left the show, I don't want to spread any rumors, but it could be just that she didn't want to wear stupid skirts and left because of the Japanese film industry and how they treat women. Let's just say she's not the first one to leave, or leave acting in general because of how she's treated by the industry. But this is just all speculation. But yes, Jun, an Olympic archer, is the replacement, seen wearing skirts. And onto Hikaru, Pink 5 of the Bio team, is a flautist and is seen wearing skirts, dresses, and shorts. I am just gonna leave it at that. It makes sense with the standards of traditional gendered formal wear, and her job is more delicate. But does it mean that I feel like I should have mentioned this earlier on, so I'll mention it here. Though I've come off as quite brutal and negative about skirts and shorts so far, but did you know that the miniskirt was actually designed and made into a fashion phenomenon by Mary Quant, a British fashion designer, as a way to liberate women in fashion in the 50s and 60s. It was made to unshackle women from that expectation. However, from liberating and empowering women to limiting and sexualizing them now, the sheer number of revealing clothing being added just as a way to gender stereotype Sentai characters over the years definitely changes that intention from Mary all those years ago. It was a powerful weapon, but now it's being used against us. Let's keep going. Sayaka, Change Mermaid of the Change Man, was a former strategic branch officer, a genius with the brain of a computer, and finally, also an inventor who was a stickler for manners and etiquette. So it doesn't really surprise us at all when I say skirt. However, their teammate, Mai, Change Phoenix, is different. She is known to be tomboyish with a tough appearance, a former reconnaissance officer with the Earth Defense Force, and a motorcyclist with trousers and leggings. Yes, and guess what? She doesn't die horrendously or get replaced because of her trouser-wearing tendencies. Has the curse of the trousers been broken? Oh, we shall see. Moving on to Sarah, Yellow Flash, and Lou, Pink Flash of the Flashman team. Though the suited forms don't have skirts, they have a leotard kinda look, which I thought was interesting in some way. But again, onto the civilian outfits, we have a new look. Sarah wears a leotard and a tunic. That is it. Though she excels at gymnastics, explaining the leotard, I guess, the fact that she is from the ice planet Yellowstar is confusing. Why she is wearing literally nothing but a leotard. I have worn them. They're not warm, trust me. But with Lou, she is known for her strength and being a tomboy, seen wearing a tunic but with leggings most of the time. More protective and more practical, I guess. My problem is more that her attacks are heart-themed, but she is known for her brutal strength. I think something is kinda off with the character writing of these two, like their designs and characters should switch, but I haven't seen the show, so how would I know? But here's finally a team that is heading in the right direction. Haruka, Yellow Mask, and Momoko, Pink Mask of the Masked Men, are both wearing leggings! In different styles, yes, but still covering the legs ever so slightly more than most. Haruka is in leggings, raised by a ninja and taught to abandon all things feminine, whereas Momoko is with leggings, but with an extra skirt on top as an accessory, which is cute, and is an expert in Tai Chi Chuan. But the legs are covered for those painful falls, so it's better. My issue here is, why is that Sentai pose with their asses out? Like, dude, were you that thirsty to ask 19-year-olds to stick their butts out? Strange behavior. Okay, sorry for shouting. I'll try and get through these next few quickly and quietly. Megumi, Blue Dolphin of the Live Men team, an archer wearing a skirt with knee-high socks. Haruna, Pink Turbo of the Turbo Rangers, a student council president, again in skirts and shorts and sometimes a pencil skirt. What action could be achieved in a pencil skirt? Kazumi, 5 Pink and Remy, 5 Yellow of the 5 Men team, both wear skirts as teachers, but when they are not in school, kung fu gear with trousers and trousers with a blummin' motorcycle. Small wins, let's go. Kaori, White Swan of the Jetman, heiress of a business enterprise, skirt, but wears jumpsuits when in training. Akko, Blue Swallow of the Jetman, a high school student seen mostly in jean shorts as a tomboy. She is still a child. Princess May of the Zoo Rangers, a literal warrior dedicated to fighting the evil witch Pandora, shorts and skirts. Why? Rin of the Die Rangers, only girl and master of the deadly wind power, shorts. My head's spinning, so let's slow it down again here in 1994. Tsuruhime, Ninja White of the Kaka Rangers, a 15-year-old. You can do this, Sentai! The 24th protector of the Seal Door, true leader of the Kaka Rangers. She's covered up in ninja garb for most of the show, and when not in her uniform is seen in a long skirt that covers everything. Yay! It's a female and a child not exploited or having to have their leg out the whole time. It's protective, finally. God, people are gonna think I have a problem with women showing skin, but mostly I'm just thinking about the hypothetical of you're thrown into a battle, what do you do? Which is super funny. I'm getting super serious about a hypothetical that I would never be in. But this is wild, right? Juri O Yellow and Momo O Pink of the O Rangers, a military team, both wearing skirts. For why? And we're right back to it. A military team, by the way. Of the Car Rangers, Natsumi Yellow Racer, a genius mechanic in trousers. Okay, and Yoko Pink Racer, the secretary who is in skirts and self-conscious about her weight. Why put that on someone in the character description? Especially someone who is so young. Also, I wasn't gonna add her, but I will because of the theme of this video. Radiator. Not a ranger, but a Car Ranger fan who uses magic to turn themselves into White Racer. But not actually, a sort of sexy Halloween cosplay version of a ranger? And she must have been young in this show, and there is one shot just up her dress. Sentai, do better. Moving on. Chisato Mega Yellow and Miku Mega Pink of the Mega Rangers are both students still at school, so they would be wearing school uniforms, so yes. But these skirts may be a little bit too high, even for Japanese school regulations. And again, they added the fact that Miku is very self-conscious about her weight as well in her character description. It's just so specific. Why don't shows like this for kids present with body positivity, but instead put weight concerns on a child to make all girls health conscious? For kids, it's a show about toys. For teenagers, it's a show about self-consciousness? I don't understand it. We could make this a video in the future, but I'll come back to that later. Saya Ginga Pink of the Ginga Men team is a warrior descendant of the original Ginga Men, like the other members, and surprisingly is not the only one with legs showing. She's in a skirt while Hikaru is in shorts. She is also 17. But why would a warrior be in skirts? Matsuri Go Pink of the Go-Go 5 team works as a National Guard hospital paramedic. The whole team are all members of Tokyo's emergency and rescue services. Surely they would all be covered head to toe and protected and ready for anything as members of an emergency team? No, absolutely not. She has the orange coat she wears for protection like the others do, but for her legs, shorts and skirts. Yeah, I guess why not? I guess legs are just immune to disasters. The double standard. Ugh. But we have now reached the 2000s finally. Does it get better from this point? Nope. Yuri, officer of the Intercity Police, a leather skirt. Sei, short. Nanami, skirt. Branru, skirt. Marika, skirt. Komei, skirt. Urara, skirt. Hoka, skirt. Natsuki, skirt. Sakura, skirt. Ran, skirt. Saki, skirt. Miu, shorts. Mako, jeans and leggings. Whoa, wait, what? Jeans! Jeans! We got jeans! In 2009, Mako, Shinken Pink of the Shinkenjas, is a loyal samurai retainer known for her style of jeans. Very 2009 and 2010 stylings, which, honestly, I did love that for her. Her fellow retainer Kotoha is seen wearing jeans, but is mainly known for the shorts. Unfortunately, though she is a samurai and her weapon is a sword, she doesn't really worry about her legs, but we do get some cool samurai clothing sometimes when they henshin officially. At least Shinkenja is changing this trope bit by bit, but how long does that last? Spoiler, not long. Eri, skirts. Monet, shorts and knee-highs. Luca, shorts but with colored tights. Okay, but back to it. I am Famille with a dress. But at the same time, she has long socks with knee-high boots that cover her pretty much the whole waist. So she is almost protected enough to be safe. She is a pirate princess, so if she wants to wear a dress, that's up to her. Yoko, shorts. Even in a uniform. But we all know about Go Buster's director and some unseemly shots that soon stopped, especially because she's a teen in the show. Amy, skirts and shorts. Yaoi, yeah, skirts. Mio, another Luca situation with shorts and tights. Kagura, skirts and knee-highs. Fuka with a school uniform skirt, and Kazumi with shorts, but with tights. But for both of them, they have a ninja uniform for training, which is good. Now we have come to a time with Zyou Oja onwards where things get interesting. In 2016, Sella and Amu of the Zyou Ojas are slightly different, as they have a human form and a Zyuman form. Zyuman being inhabitants of the parallel dimension known as Zyou Land, full of humanoid animals. But back to the characters, they both wear the same thing in each form, and because of this technical issue for the costuming, they probably had to have them covered both times. So, Sella is in a long skirt and cool leggings, sticking with a water and shark theme, and Amu is in bloomer shorts, tights and long boots. It's not necessarily going to protect you if you fall in rubble, but it's better than nothing. Hami Chameleon Green of the Q Rangers, an extraterrestrial human, is next, trained as a ninja wearing a skirt and tights. As a ninja and a chameleon, probably not the best or most streamlined to be wearing a skirt, but what do I know? And Hami's fellow teammate, Raptor283, is wearing a skirt. But she's a general purpose android with robotic legs, so I'll let you guys decide on this one. And then Umika, Lupin Yellow of the Lupin Rangers, an 18-year-old phantom thief in skirts and tights. And we are back to the usual. The thing here for me is that she is in heels. What Sentai member, what phantom thief is running around in heels? At least her opposite, Sugasa of the Pat Rangers, is in combat boots, which is more suitable. But is back in shorts and tights. Can't forget those tights for that extra protection against the fucking bullet. She is a police officer, for God's sake. And talking police officers, this fact I just found out is really interesting. So apparently before 1994, policewomen were expected to only wear skirts and trousers were just for those winter months. But now we are getting closer to the modern day, trousers are actually being implemented more and more. Even now, as of 2025, the police agency is now removing skirts from the uniform entirely. So good. And started this action around 2010. So, from now on, if we get another police-themed show, the women should actually not have to wear skirts or shorts at all. Again, small wins. By the way, before we continue, I'm not saying everyone has to be in body armor, protective SWAT uniform all the time, but just if you know that you're going to be targeted by villains who are trying to get rid of you as the opposition so they can take over the world, a surprise attack wouldn't be out of the question, especially if you're I don't know, a police officer, and some clothing that may cover a fall isn't really stupid in hindsight. So for example, jeans or combat trousers are fashionable enough for a fashionista in the late 1990s and early 2000s, and even now with the Y2K revival in the 2020s, which we see hugely with Sachika and Kamen Rider Gav. Just trousers in general. Business trousers, skinny trousers, baggy trousers, ripped trousers, any trousers really. Look at what the men wear. Those are still more protective than bare legs. Even tights would do something more than bare legs. Tsukasa knows that. Am I right, Tsukasa? But that leads us to 2019. After Lupat finished, and the world of women's rights changed even more so in Asia. Take Japan for example. Changed by Yumi Ishigawa, a Japanese actress, freelance writer, and part-time funeral parlor worker. Don't know why I added that in. You may say, why is this relevant? Well, listen in. The Q2 movement is an ongoing movement against the forced requirements that women must wear high heels between 5 and 7 centimeters or 1.9 to 2.75 inches in height in Japanese workplaces. Working a long shift and being forced to wear high heels? Absolutely not! The name is referring to the Me Too movement by using the Japanese words for shoe and pain. Kutsu and kutsu. Sorry if I mispronounced them incorrectly, but nice wordplay honestly. Of course, many women have come together with this movement, sharing stories of their injuries, bloodied blisters, and all which led to this movement's growth. However, due to old men in governments that are stuck in tradition and lack experience in heels and apathy, many see this as a stupid request. Even Takuni Namoto, past Japanese Minister of Health, Labor and Welfare, stating that women not wearing heels is inappropriate, stating in a parliamentary committee hearing that he thinks it's necessary and responsible for women to wear heels in the workplace. For who? Maybe for you, sir? Because definitely not for me. Back to Q2. Ishigawa fights back in her book, stating that it's frowned upon to outwardly express emotion. But it feels good to go against expectation and to be angry, extending the movement to a more expansive spectrum of women's rights issues in Japan. And I mean, thank fuck it's happening. And it's not just in Japan. 4B is a feminist movement in South Korea, also starting in 2019, where women renounced dating men, marriage, sex, and having children altogether. Now, why is this relevant to this video? Well, the fact that women and girls are expected to fulfill a certain role. And that is also so clear in Sentai and Toku, possibly to be gawked at by the older generation, expected to do what is traditional, and that's fucked. And honestly, the Q2 movement, I don't know if it necessarily changed the Sentai world of costuming, but the politics of Asia and the whole world definitely influences the show, even if some of you think it doesn't. I hope that Japan, Korea, and all of us in the future can break these traditions and women can live free of expectations and being sexualized. I mean, we in the West really haven't fully worked it out ourselves yet, but maybe I'll check out the fashion of females in Power Rangers in another video to push this point through more. But that will be another day. Back to the video for now. Asuna, shorts and knee-high boots. Senna and Sayo, shorts. Majin, though a robot and in their human form, it's still a skirt. Haruka, skirts and shorts. Himeno, dress. But they have a doctor's uniform where everyone else has trousers, female and male, but she still wears shorts. Make that make sense. Exactly. Next is Mira and, yeah. I'm not gonna include Rita because gender neutral, as confirmed by the writer. And as soon as they aren't a woman, they aren't afraid to wear trousers. Good to know. Actually, the fact that they are wearing trousers should confirm more to the fact that they are non-binary. They aren't forced to wear skirts and show their legs to appeal to the audience. Moving on. Mira Shifto, shorts. Sumino, skirts. And that brings us back to the reason why I have made this video. This is a full list of all female members of Sentai teams with skirts, shorts, and trousers. Skirts and shorts winning by a landslide of 58 outfits, surprising no one. 2 dresses, 8 tights included, and for why we are all here, only 8 members with trousers are worn. just about 10% in protective trousers. Yeah. Hope this video was as eye-opening for you as it was for me. I can't believe it's literally that result, but maybe I'm not surprised. This is part of a bigger societal issue in Japan specifically. My main gripe is that these are meant to be warriors, fighting in rubble, in the crossfire where fire may be around. And when you have such a clear weak spot as your legs and with no protection, it makes no sense. Honestly, I love seeing cute sentai female outfits that I could replicate or cosplay myself, as I want to see myself as those characters. And if the character would absolutely wear it because of their cutesy character, then fair enough, girl, wear what you want. But for me, it's this, the strange tones of why a female character is written like this. And as an older female fan, seeing all this is so discouraging. I was and have been a tomboy for most, if not all my life. And only some of these characters represent myself. But I still cringe when they run through fire or fall on rubble like Mira did in episode 3. Just take a moment to realize how silly that is. People are saying it's tradition for Sentai females to wear such outfits, but from where I'm sat, that's not just a Sentai tradition, it's just what is expected, and that's the issue. In this video, I haven't even touched on the suits, but about skirts on suits. Is it just for aesthetics, or to show the female from the male? Or is it actually to hide that some female rangers have male stunt doubles? And going back to the outfits, is it for the dads at home to keep them entertained and interested? Because holy hell, if this is for a kid, this is not a kid's show anymore. Crazy. To be honest, if these actresses are comfortable, good for them. But it's when it's so over the top that it's almost every show, and most likely going to be used to sell the show to older men. Hated I had to say that. But that's that. Why do Sentai females dress so impractically? I will never understand the fucking reasonings of old Japanese men stuck in the past and wanting to keep women in their place. But hopefully, as time moves on, Sentai can grow to be a show that opens up more to everyone with more modern presentations. As after all, we've been going through the years and I've seen slight progress. And it's an unfortunate fact that a lot of these Sentai tropes are simply a product of their time.